The mysterious warning. The Galactic Empire had been around for thousands of years, stretching across the stars, conquering planets one after another. They had taken over countless worlds, bending civilizations to their will. No planet had ever dared to stand in their way. But Earth was different. It all began with a broadcast. It was an ordinary day on Earth, at least at first. People went about their daily lives. Workers, students, families, unaware that something momentous was about to happen. The government had kept quiet about the rumors of the Galactic Empire's interest in Earth. No one outside of the top leaders knew that the Empire had been watching Earth for some time. But now, the truth would be revealed. The broadcast came in the middle of the night, when most people were asleep. It was a strange message. It didn't come from any news channel or radio station. It came from the government itself, but not the kind of announcement they usually made. There were no warnings, no updates on the weather or the economy. This was something different. The screen flickered to life. The voice that spoke was cold, official, and impersonal. Attention, citizens of Earth. This is your government speaking. The Galactic Empire has requested entry to our planet. They wish to establish their presence here. We are informing you now that this request has been denied. Earth is closed to the Galactic Empire. Entry is forbidden. The message ended abruptly. No explanations. No reason why. Just the simple, chilling words. Entry forbidden. For a moment, people were confused. They didn't understand. Earth was not a powerful planet. It didn't have advanced weapons like the other planets the Empire had conquered. It didn't have the technology or the resources the Empire usually sought out. So why would the Empire even want to come to Earth in the first place? What made Earth different? The confusion quickly turned to shock. No one on Earth had ever stood up to the Galactic Empire. How could Earth do such a thing? It was a planet of ordinary people, with no idea of what the Empire was capable of. What was going on? As the broadcast faded, the news spread like wildfire. People turned to each other in disbelief. Social media erupted with questions and wild speculation. No one knew the full story, but everyone knew one thing. Earth had just rejected the most powerful empire in the galaxy. In the command centers across the Empire, leaders and military officials watched the broadcast with growing concern. The Galactic Empire had conquered hundreds of worlds over the centuries, without ever being refused entry to a planet. The Empire's power was unrivaled, and their army and fleet were unmatched. No one had ever dared to stand against them. Now, Earth was making a stand. But why? What's going on? One of the commanders asked. Earth is nothing. We have planets with far more resources, far more advanced civilizations. Why would they refuse us? The Emperor himself watched the broadcast in his private chamber, his face hard and unreadable. He wasn't used to being challenged. His empire was built on power and fear, and no one ever stood against it. Earth's rejection was an anomaly, and he didn't like anomalies. Something was happening on that planet, something that they didn't understand. And that made it dangerous. Send a fleet, the Emperor ordered coldly. Prepare a response. We need to know what's happening on Earth. We need to see why they are making this foolish decision. A fleet of Empire ships was quickly assembled. The most advanced warships, equipped with powerful weapons, set course for Earth. The Empire's plan was simple. They would arrive, and they would make Earth comply. If they needed to destroy the planet to do so, they would. Nothing could stop the Empire. Meanwhile, Earth's leaders were in a state of panic. They had never prepared for something like this. The government quickly called a meeting of top officials, military commanders, and scientists. What was going on? Why had Earth rejected the Empire? And could they defend themselves against such a powerful force? In a secure underground facility, a group of military leaders sat around a table. Maps of the Earth and the stars were spread out before them, along with data on the Empire's known ships and weapons. They were scrambling, trying to understand what the next steps should be. We can't fight them. Not directly. one of the generals said, his voice tense. "The Empire's fleet is too powerful. They have weapons we don't understand. If they come, we're done for." The others nodded. Earth didn't have the technology to defeat the Empire. They didn't have the power, the resources, or the military strength. It seemed hopeless. But then, one of the scientists at the table spoke up. She was young, with glasses and a look of determination on her face. "I've been studying their technology," she said, her voice calm. "And I think there's something they've missed. Something about Earth." Everyone looked at her, intrigued. "What do you mean?" the general asked. "There's more to Earth than meets the eye," she replied. "It's not just the people who live here. It's the planet itself. There's something hidden, something old, something powerful." The room fell silent. What was she talking about? Was there some kind of ancient technology buried beneath Earth's surface? Something the Galactic Empire hadn't discovered? The scientist's words were the first hint of hope Earth had in the face of the coming Empire, but no one knew for sure. As the minutes ticked by, the sense of urgency grew. The fleet was on its way, and Earth was about to face the biggest challenge it had ever known. Would they stand strong against the Empire, or would they crumble under the pressure? The answers were still unclear, but one thing was certain: Earth was about to change forever. The ancient secret of Earth. The Empire's fleet was now heading toward Earth, and the countdown had begun. The people of Earth anxiously waited, unsure of what to expect. The world had never been under such a direct threat, and yet a strange calm had settled over many cities. There were whispers, a growing belief that Earth was not as powerless as everyone had assumed. On the other side of the galaxy, the Empire was preparing for what they thought would be an easy victory. But there was something nagging at the back of their minds. Earth, a backwater planet with little to no military strength, had rejected them. It didn't make sense. What was so special about Earth? Why would a planet that had no history of space travel, no advanced weaponry, suddenly refuse the Empire's offer? They couldn't shake the feeling that Earth was hiding something. As the Empire's fleet entered the solar system, they received an unexpected signal, a distress call from one of their scout ships that had gone ahead to investigate Earth. The signal was garbled, but the last few words that came through were clear. "They know. They know we are here." Back on Earth, a team of scientists, led by Dr. Alina Shaw, continued to search for answers. Dr. Shaw had always been fascinated by Earth's history. She had spent years studying ancient civilizations, digging through old ruins, and uncovering long-forgotten secrets. But even she was beginning to wonder if there was something more to Earth's past than anyone had realized. Dr. Shaw stood in front of a massive dusty map in the government's top-secret research facility. She traced her finger over a part of the world that most people thought was just a myth, the lost cities of the ancients. These cities were rumored to be the birthplace of a civilization far more advanced than anything Earth had ever known. Some even believed that the ancients had technology that could rival the Empire's own. But most people dismissed these ideas as fairy tales. Until now. As Dr. Shaw examined old, fragile texts that had been locked away for centuries, she began to see patterns, clues that pointed to something far greater than mere legends. Ancient civilizations had once thrived on Earth, but they had mysteriously vanished. Their cities, their knowledge, their technologies, all lost to time. Or so it seemed. A flash of light startled Dr. Shaw as the research room's old equipment powered up. She wasn't the only one in the room, but the others had already left for a brief meeting. Dr. Shaw had remained behind, poring over the data alone. She looked up, heart pounding, as the ancient systems hummed to life, responding to her touch. The console blinked and then displayed a map, one she had never seen before. It wasn't just Earth, but a detailed image of the entire solar system, and some parts of it were glowing with an unfamiliar energy. "This can't be," she whispered to herself. The map showed a network of power sources buried deep beneath Earth's surface. These weren't just geological formations. They were structures, artificial, massive, and incredibly old. Someone or something had built them long before humanity even existed. The more she studied the map, the more the pieces began to fall into place. There was no record of these structures in any history books, no mention of them in the world's archaeological records. Yet here they were, hidden from sight and buried in the most unlikely places on Earth. These were not natural formations. They were clearly made by intelligent beings, and that intelligence was far beyond anything known to modern science. Dr. Shaw felt a chill run down her spine. She understood now why Earth had rejected the Empire. The planet wasn't simply hiding from them. Earth had been waiting. The truth was something far more extraordinary than anyone could have imagined. Earth wasn't just a small, insignificant planet in the galaxy. It was the birthplace of an ancient race. The ancients had seeded the galaxy with their knowledge, their technology, and their power. But over time, they had disappeared, leaving behind only their ruins. Until now. Dr. Shaw quickly sent a message to the highest levels of Earth's military leadership. It was clear that Earth had something the Empire wanted, something more powerful than weapons or resources. The Empire wasn't just seeking Earth for its materials. They were after something buried deep within the planet itself. They needed to learn about the ancients, and they would stop at nothing to get that knowledge. The military officials were quick to act, but they couldn't fully comprehend what they were up against. They were preparing for a war, but the nature of this war was far more complex than they realized. The Empire's fleet was approaching, but Earth's ancient power had awakened, and with it, a sense of urgency that made everything feel fragile. Meanwhile, the Empire's fleet arrived at Earth's orbit. The ships were massive, their shadows casting over the planet like an impending storm. On board, the Emperor's elite officers were briefed on Earth's refusal to allow entry. They had no idea what they were about to face. As their fleet began to position itself, an unexpected alarm blared throughout the ship. "Something's wrong," one of the commanders said, staring at the displays. "We've just detected an unknown signal coming from Earth's surface. It's not a regular transmission. His voice faltered. It's not just a signal. It's energy. Energy on a scale we've never seen." The Empire's fleet was already geared for battle, but now they realized that Earth wasn't as defenseless as they thought. Whatever ancient power was hidden beneath the surface of the planet had started to awaken, and it was far more dangerous than anything they had anticipated. As the Empire moved into position to attack, the scientists on Earth scrambled to uncover more of the ancient ruins. The truth was becoming clearer. Earth was not just a planet. They were standing on the last remnants of an ancient, forgotten civilization. The Earth had once been home to beings with the power to control the very fabric of the universe, and if the Empire discovered it, they could be unstoppable. The tension was palpable. The countdown had begun, and both sides were about to face the unknown. Would the Empire's might be enough to overcome the ancient powers of Earth? Or was the galaxy about to witness the rise of something far greater than the Empire could ever imagine? The ancient secrets of Earth were no longer just hidden. They were awakening, and they were about to change everything. A dangerous gamble. The days had passed quickly, each one filled with growing fear and anticipation. Earth had rejected the Galactic Empire's entry, but the Empire was not backing down. As the massive fleet of ships hovered in Earth's orbit, a sense of inevitable collision loomed over the planet. The Empire's forces were ready for war, and Earth, despite its newfound knowledge of ancient power, was scrambling to prepare for the worst. On the surface, cities were on high alert. Governments had mobilized forces, but the realization was settling in that Earth's military was no match for the Empire's might. The ancient power buried deep within the planet might be their only hope, but how could they unleash it? How could they even control it? These were questions that couldn't be answered quickly. Dr. Elena Shaw stood before a group of Earth's top military officials, her mind racing. The data she had uncovered was both thrilling and terrifying. There were still so many unknowns about the ancient technology. The energy readings they were detecting from the underground structures were off the charts, but without a clear understanding of how it worked, Earth's forces were powerless. The structures seemed to react only to specific conditions they had yet to decipher. "We have no choice but to make contact," Dr. Shaw said, her voice steady but filled with uncertainty. "The Empire is not here to negotiate. They are here to conquer. We must act now, or we risk losing everything." The room was tense, filled with uncertainty, but they had no other option. Earth's only hope lay in a desperate gamble. The only weapon left in their arsenal was a fleet of experimental ships powered by the same ancient technology they had just uncovered. They were the only vessels capable of resisting the Empire's ships, but they had never been fully tested. The engineers who had worked on them had no idea if they would even function properly, let alone hold their own in battle. At the command center, a team of soldiers geared up for a mission unlike any other. Their mission was clear: to launch a surprise strike against the Empire's fleet, using these untested ships. The soldiers, many of whom had been ordinary civilians just weeks ago, were now on the front lines of a war they never asked for. They were the last line of defense. As the fleet began to move toward Earth's atmosphere, a tension-filled silence swept across the command center. This wasn't just a battle for survival. This was a battle to protect Earth's very future. If the Empire gained control of the ancient power hidden beneath the surface, they would be unstoppable. Earth would never be the same again. The first ship to launch was the Eclipse, a sleek, black vessel that looked more like a ghost than a machine. Powered by the mysterious energy from the ancient ruins, it shimmered with an unnatural glow as it ascended into space. Its hull pulsed with the same energy that Dr. Shaw had discovered in her research. The ship wasn't just powered by advanced technology. It was alive, responding to the will of the crew. It was as if the ship itself was aware of its purpose. "Do you think it will work?" one of the soldiers asked nervously, watching the Eclipse disappear into the night sky. "We have no choice," replied Captain Alden Carter, leader of the mission. "Either we win, or we lose everything." The soldiers boarded their ships and followed the Eclipse into space, moving swiftly toward the Empire's fleet. The mission was dangerous, and they knew the odds were slim. The Empire's ships were massive, their weapons capable of wiping out entire fleets in an instant. But the Eclipse wasn't like any other ship in the galaxy. It was powered by an energy the Empire had never encountered. It was Earth's one shot at survival. As they neared the Empire's fleet, the first blast rang out. A powerful beam shot across the darkness of space, narrowly missing the Eclipse as it flew past. The Empire had spotted them. But what the Empire didn't know was that the ships powered by Earth's ancient technology were unlike anything they had faced before. As the Eclipse soared through space, it emitted a strange hum, a hum that resonated deep within the Empire's fleet. The Empire's ships, accustomed to battling with weapons and technology they understood, began to experience unexpected interference. Their systems started to malfunction. Weapons misfired. Shields flickered. "What is happening? Why are our systems failing?" the Empire's commanders demanded. The fleet was in disarray, as their once impenetrable technology began to falter. But just when the Empire thought they could regain control, the Eclipse released a shockwave of energy, sending waves of disruption through the Empire's ships. The interference was unlike anything they had ever seen. It was as though the ancient technology of Earth was rewriting the rules of their battle in real time. As the battle raged on, the soldiers aboard the Eclipse and their companions fought with a ferocity born from desperation. Earth had no backup plan. There was no second chance. Every shot fired, every maneuver, was a gamble. But there was something that kept the crew going, an undeniable connection to the ship, to the ancient power that seemed to flow through their very veins. Captain Carter barked orders, coordinating the fleet's attack with a newfound confidence. "Focus on their command ships. We take down the leaders, and the rest will fall." The small fleet of experimental ships pressed forward, engaging in fierce combat with the Empire's warships. The energy from Earth's ancient technology pulsed stronger with every passing second, lighting up the dark expanse of space. The Empire's ships began to fall one by one, their once unstoppable power reduced to sparks in the vast emptiness. The tide of battle was turning. For the first time, the Empire was losing. But the victory was not without cost. The Eclipse had taken heavy damage, its hull buckling under the strain of the Empire's counterattack. It was clear that the Empire would not give up easily. "We need to finish this now," Carter said, his voice urgent. "They won't stop until we're all destroyed." But just as the final strike was about to be delivered, an unexpected transmission from Earth cut through the chaos. "Stop," the message said. "This is not just about victory or defeat. There is something else, something even more dangerous than the Empire." The transmission was from Dr. Shaw. The crew aboard the Eclipse paused. For a brief moment, it felt as if time itself had stopped. The message was clear. There was more to the ancient power than they had realized, and now it was awakening in ways they could not control. The battle wasn't over, not by a long shot. And as the soldiers turned their ships back toward Earth, they realized the true fight had only just begun. The hidden alliance. The battle had been a turning point, but the true cost of victory was beginning to set in. Earth had repelled the Empire's initial assault, but the victory felt hollow. The Eclipse and the experimental fleet had suffered significant damage. Earth's military forces, although emboldened by their unexpected triumph, knew that the Empire would return, more determined and far more dangerous. Captain Alden Carter stood at the edge of the command center, staring out at the endless horizon. The lights of Earth's cities twinkled below, but he felt no comfort. The battle had been brutal, but Earth had only made the Empire more angry. The ancient power beneath their feet was their only advantage, and yet they had only begun to scratch the surface of what it could really do. Could they harness this energy in time, or would the Empire learn to control it before they did? As he pondered the situation, Dr. Elena Shaw arrived in the command room, her face pale with urgency. She was holding a data tablet tightly in her hands, and her voice was filled with a mix of excitement and dread. "We need to talk, Captain. It's worse than we thought." Carter turned to her, eyebrows furrowed. "What's going on?" "The ancient structures on Earth, they're not just a source of energy," Dr. Shaw explained, her voice barely a whisper. "They were built by a civilization, yes, but they were also connected to something much larger. These ruins are part of a vast network. And there's more out there, other civilizations, hidden away in the galaxy, who share this ancient connection with Earth. I believe Earth's true role in the galaxy isn't just about defense or survival. It's far more important than we realized." Captain Carter's confusion grew. "What are you saying? Are you telling me there are other groups out there, just like us?" Dr. Shaw nodded slowly. "Yes. Earth isn't the only world connected to this ancient network. There are other civilizations out there, other species who have been keeping watch, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. These civilizations, these alliances, are ready to stand with us, but only if we can prove ourselves worthy." The captain took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the situation. The battle they had fought was only the beginning. If Earth truly had a hidden alliance with other advanced civilizations, it meant they were not alone. But it also meant they had to prepare for an entirely new kind of conflict. "We don't have time for allies right now," Dr. Carter said, shaking his head. "The Empire is coming back. We need to focus on fighting them off first." "I understand," Dr. Shaw replied, "but we can't do this alone. The Empire won't stop, and we need more than just the ancient technology to defeat them. We need the strength of these civilizations. They're out there, waiting for us to reach out." And so, Earth's leaders faced a critical decision. Could they trust in these so-called hidden alliances, or were they walking into a trap that could lead to their ultimate destruction? Days passed, and Earth's resistance began to rebuild. The fleet of experimental ships was being repaired. while scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to study the ancient ruins and learn how to harness their power more effectively. But all the while, the looming question remained: who were these other civilizations, and could they really trust them? Then the answer came, unexpectedly and with startling speed. One night, as Carter and Shaw were discussing the next steps in a secure military base, a transmission was received. It was faint, barely audible, but the voice that came through was unmistakable. "We have seen what you've done. Earth's will is stronger than we expected." The transmission was not from any Empire ship, but from a distant star system far beyond Earth's reach. The voice was soft, calm, but with an underlying strength that was impossible to ignore. "We are the Indar. We have watched your struggle, and we know the Empire's true intentions. You are not alone, Earth. You will never be alone again." Carter's heart raced. "The Indar? Who are you?" "We are part of the Alliance of the Hidden Worlds," the voice responded. "For centuries, we have been watching, waiting for the right moment to step into the light. And now, that moment has come. Earth is not the only world with the power to resist the Empire. There are others, like you, who have kept their strength hidden. Together, we can defeat the Empire." The transmission crackled, then faded. It was short but powerful, proof that Earth's future was no longer solely in its own hands. There was an entire network of civilizations who had been waiting for Earth to discover its true place in the galaxy. Carter stared at Dr. Shaw, stunned. "Are we really ready for this? To join an alliance we know nothing about?" "We don't have a choice," Dr. Shaw said softly, her face drawn with both hope and uncertainty. "The Empire will not stop until they have Earth, until they have control of the ancient power. If we want to survive, if we want to protect what we've built here, we have to take this step." And so, Earth's leaders made the fateful decision. They would send a small team, led by Captain Carter and Dr. Shaw, to meet with the Indar and other members of the Hidden Worlds Alliance. This would not be an easy decision for Earth's people to accept. They were placing their trust in a network of civilizations they knew little about. But the alternative was worse. If Earth fell to the Empire, nothing would remain. As the team prepared to launch the mission, a new sense of urgency filled the air. Earth's resistance was no longer just a fight for survival. It was a fight for the future of the galaxy. The Hidden Worlds Alliance was their only hope, and now Earth had to prove it was worthy of their trust. But as Carter and Shaw stood in the shadow of Earth's greatest challenge, neither of them could shake the feeling that they were stepping into a much larger game, one where the stakes were higher than they could imagine. And all the while, the Empire, unaware of the alliance brewing against them, was making its own plans for a devastating counterattack. The galaxy was on the brink of war, and Earth's place in that war was just beginning to take shape. The final showdown. The decision to seek out the Hidden Worlds Alliance had been made, but time was running out. The Empire, though stunned by their initial defeat, had regrouped faster than Earth had expected. Their warships, now reinforced with even more advanced weapons and technology, were preparing for a full-scale invasion. The Empire's leadership was determined to crush Earth and prove that no one could stand in their way. In the dimly lit command center, Captain Alden Carter stood in front of a large holographic map, his hands clasped behind his back. The pieces of the puzzle were coming together, but the more he learned, the less certain he became about Earth's chances. The Alliance was offering support, but that didn't mean Earth's enemies were any less formidable. "We're outnumbered," Carter said quietly, his gaze scanning the map. "Even with the help of the Indar and the others, the Empire will overwhelm us unless we strike fast and hard. We need to hit them where it hurts, and we need to do it now." Dr. Elena Shaw stood beside him, her eyes locked on the glowing map. "They're coming for the heart of Earth's power. If we don't act soon, they'll control the ancient technology beneath our feet. And that's not just about winning this war. It's about domination of the galaxy." The Alliance had given Earth something more valuable than weapons or ships: They had given Earth a glimpse of the true scale of the conflict. The Empire was not just after Earth's resources or even its technology. They were after the energy at the core of the ancient structures, energy that could be used to fuel the Empire's conquest of the entire galaxy. If the Empire controlled it, they could bend entire star systems to their will. And with this power, nothing would stop them. But Earth had a plan. The fleet was ready. The first wave of ships powered by ancient energy, now fully repaired and enhanced, would lead the charge. These ships had one key advantage. They weren't just advanced. They were unpredictable. The Empire's technology couldn't fully comprehend the energy they were dealing with, and that gave Earth a slight edge. "We have one shot at this," Carter said, looking around at the room full of commanders. "We hit them with everything we have, starting at their command fleet. If we can destroy their leadership, the rest of their forces will scatter. We can't afford to fail." The plan was bold, almost reckless, but Earth had no other choice. They would strike with all their might, using the newly formed alliance as their backbone, with each ship relying on the ancient energy coursing through them to perform maneuvers the Empire wouldn't expect. But what Earth didn't know was that the Empire had its own tricks up its sleeve, traps they had set long before the battle began. The battle began just before dawn. The dark silhouette of the Empire's flagship, the Dreadnought, cut across the black void of space as it led a fleet of hundreds of warships toward Earth. The entire system had been fortified, and the Empire was ready to make Earth bend to its will. But Earth was ready too. The first wave of ships from Earth's fleet broke through the atmosphere, their sleek, black forms glowing with the strange energy from the ancient ruins. They had come to do what no one thought possible, to fight back against the Empire's overwhelming force and disrupt their seemingly unshakable grip on the galaxy. As the two fleets closed in on each other, there was a moment of eerie silence. The ships in both fleets maneuvered into position, readying their weapons for the inevitable clash. Then, without warning, a blast of energy tore through the vast emptiness, a brilliant flash that lit up the dark void. The Eclipse, the flagship of Earth's fleet, led the charge. Powered by the ancient technology, it surged forward like a dark comet, its energy radiating outward, disrupting the Empire's systems as it passed. The Empire's ships staggered, their weapons failing to fire as the strange energy pulses affected their shields. "They're using it. This is impossible," screamed an officer aboard one of the Empire's dreadnoughts, watching in disbelief as Earth's ships tore through the Empire's lines. But the Empire was not easily defeated. From the shadows of the fleet, a hidden weapon, something Earth's forces hadn't anticipated, unleashed its devastating firepower. A massive beam shot out, piercing the heart of one of Earth's strongest ships. The Onyx, a vessel that had been one of the most advanced in Earth's fleet, exploded in a massive burst of light. The shockwave rattled the remaining ships, shaking their crew to the core. "They'd been holding back," Carter murmured under his breath. "The Empire had more up their sleeves than we thought." In the chaos of the battle, Captain Carter knew the time for subtlety had passed. If they were to have any hope of winning, they would have to destroy the heart of the Empire's command, the Dreadnought. It was the symbol of their power, and its fall would break their will to fight. The Eclipse surged forward, now completely out of control. The strange energy that powered it was becoming volatile, its systems reacting in ways the crew couldn't predict. As Carter's hand gripped the control panel, the ship shuddered, its engines pulsing erratically. "Brace for impact," Carter shouted, his voice barely audible over the roar of battle. The Eclipse and the Dreadnought collided with a deafening crash, the energy from Earth's ship blasting through the Empire's shields like paper. As the two ships locked in deadly combat, Carter and Shaw could only watch as their ship slowly began to break apart under the strain. The Empire's flagship retaliated, but it was clear the battle was tipping in Earth's favor. In the heart of the Empire's command ship, Emperor Duran watched with rage in his eyes. He had never expected this. Earth's sudden resilience, the sheer unpredictability of their ancient technology. It had turned the tide of battle against him. He knew this war wasn't over, but it was slipping away. Desperate, the Emperor ordered a final, all-out assault. His flagship opened fire, sending massive bursts of energy toward Earth's fleet. But before the final blow could land, a strange, new ship entered the battlefield, its sleek form glowing with an aura of ancient energy. It was the Indar, the hidden ally Earth had called upon. "We're not alone anymore, Emperor," the voice of the Indar commander echoed through the battle, as their fleet attacked with devastating precision. The Empire's ships began to falter, overwhelmed by the combined might of Earth and the Hidden Worlds Alliance. The final moments of the battle were a blur of energy blasts, ship explosions, and chaos. But in the end, it was the Empire's dreadnought that fell. The heart of their command was destroyed, and with it, their grip on the galaxy. The battle was won, but the cost was high. Earth had lost ships, lives, and much more in this battle, but they had secured their place in the galaxy's future. The Empire had been defeated, but the remnants of its forces still lurked in the shadows, waiting for another opportunity. Earth and its new allies had won, but the true war was far from over. As Earth looked to the stars, they understood this. Their place in the galaxy was no longer that of a forgotten world. They had proven their strength, and they had made their mark. And now, they would stand as leaders of the galaxy's new order, an order that would rise from the ashes of the Empire and build a future of their own choosing. Unveiling the truth, the echoes of the final battle still reverberated through the galaxy. Earth had won. The Empire's once indomitable warships were now drifting wrecks in the vastness of space, their commanders defeated, their fleets shattered. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy was free from the Empire's oppressive rule. Yet, as Earth celebrated its hard-won victory, a deeper, more unsettling truth began to surface. In the aftermath of the battle, Earth's new allies, the Indar and other members of the Hidden Worlds Alliance, continued to aid in the cleanup of the Empire's remnants. The vast network of ancient power that Earth had only just begun to understand had proven crucial in the fight against the Empire. But now, it became clear that there was far more to Earth's past than anyone had realized. The battle might have been won, but the war for knowledge was just beginning. Dr. Elena Shaw stood in the newly established research facility, surrounded by holographic displays and ancient artifacts. The data they had recovered from the Empire's ships, combined with the knowledge shared by the Indar, was overwhelming. Yet she could not shake the feeling that they had only glimpsed the surface of something far larger, something that could change everything. "There's something we're missing," Dr. Shaw muttered to herself, her fingers dancing across the controls. "I can feel it." Captain Alden Carter, who had been overseeing Earth's rebuilding efforts, entered the room, his face etched with exhaustion. He had fought through battles, led men and women to victory, and helped reshape Earth's place in the galaxy. Yet even now, there was a lingering uncertainty in his eyes. "Do you think we're really done, Elena?" he asked, his voice heavy with concern. Dr. Shaw looked up, meeting his gaze. "No, Captain, we're not done. Not by a long shot." The two of them had spent days combing through the ancient data, trying to piece together the full picture of Earth's mysterious connection to the galaxy. The ruins they had uncovered on Earth, together with the messages transmitted by the Indar and their allies, suggested that Earth was not merely a random planet with a hidden power. No, Earth was at the center of something much bigger. "There's a pattern," Shaw continued. "The Empire, the ancient energy, the alliances, it's all tied together. But the more we uncover, the more I realize that Earth is not just some forgotten world. It's a key to something far older than the Empire, and possibly older than the Indar themselves." Carter raised an eyebrow. "You're saying Earth was meant to be the center of some galactic order?" Dr. Shaw nodded, her fingers now tracing an ancient map projected in front of her. "Not just any order. The ancients, the ones who built the technology we've been using, created this system. They built Earth to be the nexus, the heart of a network of civilizations that spanned the galaxy. But over time, something happened. They vanished, leaving behind only the remnants of their power. The Empire's rise and fall were just one chapter of a much older story. But why? Carter asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Why did they leave? Why wasn't Earth part of the galaxy's greatest civilizations? Why was it hidden away? That, Dr. Shaw replied, her voice low, is the question we need to answer. Days turned into weeks as Dr. Shaw and her team of researchers delved deeper into the secrets of the ancient structures. They had uncovered a hidden chamber beneath the largest ruins, one that had remained sealed for millennia. The chamber contained a vast array of ancient technology, far more sophisticated than anything the Empire had ever created. But it was the walls of the chamber that held the most profound discovery. They were covered in a strange, luminescent writing, a language that no one had ever seen before. It took months to decode, and even then, the truth was not as simple as they had hoped. The writings described a grand vision. Earth had been chosen to serve as the focal point of a galactic council, a gathering of all the greatest civilizations in the universe. The ancients had seen the potential of the species scattered across the stars and had formed an alliance to protect and nurture those species. Earth, with its unique position in the galaxy, was meant to be the seat of this council, the place where the universe would be governed and where peace would reign. But something had gone terribly wrong. The council had fractured, and the ancients had vanished, leaving behind only their legacy. The Empire, one of the surviving factions of this once great alliance, had been built on the belief that their dominance would bring order. Yet their power was rooted in a perversion of the original vision of unity. The rise of the Empire had corrupted the original purpose of the Council and its potential to bring peace. Dr. Shaw stood before the ancient writings, her hands shaking. The implications of their discovery were staggering. Earth had not been forgotten by the galaxy. It had been deliberately hidden away. The ancients had left it out of their galactic order for reasons they hadn't fully explained. The Empire, in their quest for domination, had sought to control that knowledge. But now, Earth had uncovered it. We were never just a random planet, Shaw whispered to herself. We were always meant to be the center of something much larger. We were the seat of power in the galaxy, the heart of a great council. And the Empire's war wasn't just about control. It was about preventing us from awakening this truth. Carter, who had been silent until now, stepped forward. And now that we know the truth, what do we do with it? Dr. Shaw took a deep breath, her mind racing with possibilities. We rebuild. But we don't just rebuild Earth. We rebuild the galaxy. The Empire's defeat was only the first step. What we've discovered, this ancient council, has the potential to unite the galaxy once again. Earth is more than just a planet. We are the key to bringing everything back together. But we can't do it alone, Carter said, his voice resolute. Dr. Shaw nodded. No, we need to reach out to the other civilizations, the ones who still hold the ideals of the ancients, and we need to prove to them that Earth is ready to lead again. As Earth prepared for the next phase of its journey, the truth was clear. The galaxy's future had always been tied to this world. Earth was not just a pawn in the Empire's game. It was the key to the galaxy's salvation. The road ahead would be long and fraught with challenges, but Earth was no longer the forgotten planet. It had a new purpose, a new mission, and this time it would not be hidden away. The stage was set for a new galactic order. The question now was, would the galaxy accept Earth's leadership, or would it continue to resist, afraid of the power and responsibility that came with the truth? And what of the ancient civilizations, those who had hidden away their knowledge? Would they step out of the shadows, or would they remain silent, leaving Earth to face its future alone? As Earth prepared for the long journey ahead, one thing was certain: the true battle had only just begun. A new era begins. The sun rose over Earth, its light filtering through the shattered remnants of the Empire's warships. The planet had survived, But the aftermath of the war left more than just physical scars. It had left humanity with a new understanding of its place in the galaxy. The battle was over, but the true challenge was just beginning. Earth was no longer the hidden, forgotten planet it had once been. It was now the center of a galaxy that was both in turmoil and on the cusp of a new beginning. As Earth began the difficult process of rebuilding, Captain Alden Carter stood on the balcony of the new Earth Council headquarters. The city below was bustling with activity, a mixture of human and alien species working side by side to restore what had been lost. What had once been a fragmented world was now uniting in ways Carter had never imagined. The victory over the Empire had been hard-earned, but it had brought Earth something more: hope, a vision for the future. But Carter knew that the path ahead would be fraught with challenges. The defeat of the Empire was just the first chapter in a much larger story, and Earth, having learned the truth of its ancient legacy, was now tasked with reuniting the scattered civilizations of the galaxy under a new banner. Behind him, Dr. Elena Shaw was working tirelessly, poring over the data from the ancient archives, continuing her efforts to unlock the secrets of the ancient council. But the more they uncovered, the more she realized that the ancients had not just left behind knowledge, they had left behind a responsibility. Earth was not merely meant to be the center of this new order, it was meant to lead it. The role that Earth would play in the coming years would be as the heart of this newly forged galactic alliance. Dr. Shaw paused for a moment, standing beside Carter, looking out over the city. "We've barely scratched the surface of what the ancients intended," she said quietly, her voice filled with both awe and trepidation. "There's so much more to learn, and we have to decide if we're ready to take on the mantle they left behind." Carter turned to face her, his expression serious. "Ready or not, we gon' have a choice. The galaxy is looking to us now, and if we fail, the Empire's shadow will never truly fade." The words hung in the air, and Dr. Shaw knew they were right. The galaxy was fragmented, distrustful, and recovering from centuries of oppression. But for the first time, there was a real chance to rebuild, to forge a future where the past mistakes of the Empire could be avoided. The first official meeting of the Earth-led Galactic Council was set to take place in just a few weeks. Representatives from dozens of worlds, including the Indar and other allies who had fought alongside Earth, were traveling to Earth to discuss the formation of a new galactic order. The Council was not just about peace or trade. It was about ensuring that the mistakes of the past were never repeated. The Empire's reign had been fueled by tyranny, fear, and greed. The new council had to be built on the ideals of cooperation, respect, and shared responsibility. But there was more at stake than just political alliances. As Earth's leaders sat in preparation for the upcoming summit, the reality of the decision that lay ahead began to weigh heavily on them. They could no longer just protect Earth. They had to lead the entire galaxy. Every decision they made would ripple across countless worlds. Every action could either unite the galaxy or fracture it irreparably. Captain Carter had long since realized that leadership was not just about strength, it was about trust. And as much as Earth had proven its resilience, trust had to be earned, not demanded. The Indar, the Drelgar, the Rane, these were the species that had helped Earth defeat the Empire. But now Earth had to prove that it could unite these diverse races under a single banner without repeating the mistakes of the past. It wasn't just about treaties or military might. It was about creating a galaxy where every civilization, every species, had a seat at the table. It was a task that would test Earth's leadership, but also its ability to adapt, to grow, and to forge bonds that transcended old rivalries. As the first council meeting began, representatives from various species filled the vast, circular chamber. The room was quiet, but the air was thick with anticipation. Earth was no longer a side player in the galaxy's politics. It was the heart of the conversation. Earth's leaders had invited representatives from every corner of the galaxy, offering them a place to speak, to contribute, and to help shape the future. Dr. Shaw stood before the assembly, her voice carrying across the room. "We've spent centuries fighting against empires, systems of control that have only sought to divide us. But now we have a chance to change that. We have a chance to build something new, a galaxy of peace, prosperity, and cooperation. Earth is ready to lead, but we cannot do it alone. This council is our chance to ensure that we never return to the mistakes of the past. We must be brave enough to unite, to share our resources, our knowledge, and our futures with each other. As the speeches began, representatives from other civilizations spoke up, some with optimism, others with doubt. The Ranai, a tall, green-skinned species known for their wisdom, spoke first. "We fought beside you, Earth, but we need to know that your strength is not built on domination. We cannot allow a new empire to rise from the ashes of the old one." The Drelgar, a fierce and proud species, nodded in agreement. "Trust is earned. You have shown us that Earth can fight, but can you truly lead with wisdom?" Captain Carter stood next, addressing the assembly. "We know that Earth has a long road ahead, but this isn't about power or conquest. It's about rebuilding the galaxy together. We're not here to replace one empire with another. We're here to offer something better, a future where we don't fight for control, but for each other." The room fell silent for a moment as the weight of the words settled in. For the first time, the galaxy was not just watching Earth, it was listening. The council meeting would be long, and the discussions would be heated, but the foundation for a new era had been laid. As the days turned into weeks, Earth's leaders and their allies worked tirelessly to draft the first galactic accords, agreements that would pave the way for the formation of the Galactic Union, a collective of civilizations dedicated to peace, knowledge, and shared prosperity. Earth's role was clear. It was the center, the place where every voice could be heard, where every species could come together as equals. But despite the hope and optimism, Dr. Shaw knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and not all factions would be as eager to join the new order. There were still remnants of the Empire's loyalists scattered throughout the stars, and their desire for power had not disappeared. Earth would have to defend its new vision, not just with weapons, but with the strength of its alliances and the wisdom it had gained from the ancients. The road ahead would be long, but Earth had a chance to create something lasting. The galaxy had seen the strength of Earth's will, but now it was time to see if they could uphold the responsibility that came with that power. As Carter looked out at the stars once more, he knew this was just the beginning. The era of empires was over. A new era was dawning, and Earth would be at its heart. The galaxy had been forged in fire, but now it had the chance to be shaped by wisdom, cooperation, and the shared dreams of all its inhabitants. The future was uncertain, but Earth's place in it was undeniable.